Um, this video, I'll answer some questions that were asked to me. Um, where I was asked some question. I was asked some questions of a spiritual nature, and I will answer some of those questions with this video. There are a lot of people that are scared about this real phenomena that is approaching the Earth. Um, Concerning ISON. I'm going to make some videos that will be even more fear-inspiring concerning the comet and some of the materials that will end up on Earth here very soon as we begin to go through this field of debris, I believe. And I would much rather prepare people and cause them to be more vigilant and over-prepared for something that, was a whole lot less menacing and be laughed at later than to be a person who failed to look for the signs and tell people the truth about what may be one of the most cataclysmic events since all the history that we know of as a human race and as the human spirit that is on our earth to date. I was asked, why would a loving God allow these things to happen? A lot of people feel let down by religion. They feel that religion has not fulfilled their spiritual needs and has not given them what they look for to build them up, or to teach them, or to help them deal with critical times or distressful times. And a lot of times I feel that is because in certain religions they tell only a part of the story that keeps people in a bubble where they don't really understand that we live in a real world of polarities, and that sometimes when we're on Earth we don't really realize the rest of our surroundings in the universe and powers and stuff that God has created that could cause things to get dangerous or difficult. And our experience in life, sometimes I feel like a lot of people are kind of angry at religion because it didn't do for them what they were told it would do. They found out that some stuff wasn't exactly how they thought it was, and then since they were angry at religion, then they became angry at God, because that is what they grew up and knew that represented God, was that religion. But I'm going to tell you now that God is more than religion. If you can learn to accept God in the perfect polarity of God, then you can learn to accept the situation, whether it is a breeze or whether it is quite distressing. And knowing that God might allow us as a human race, as humanity, to experience one of the most distressing events that's ever been in history. And I've talked about my visions. I'm going to release 3 videos following this video here that will talk in detail about the very real distress and visions that I've seen concerning planet Earth. An increase in storm surge, and an earth-wide earthquake, and some very dangerous meteor storms, and some cataclysmic events that I will be discussing in depth and how and why in my other videos. But to answer the question the best that I can in my own understanding of it, why would a loving God allow these things to happen? Well, if we look in our natural world, in nature, you see that even the small creatures, the animals, they run around, they have things that they know how to do from their instinct. I feel like, I believe that God kind of gives them the instinct to be able to gather food and to be able to eat and enjoy that, and and live and procreate and do things. And sometimes the animal's life ends, and it might end in a way that the animal grows old and dies, or it may end violently, such as when an antelope is eaten by um, a cheetah, or some sort of something happens, like um, a wildebeest is swimming in the water and an alligator eats the wildebeest. When people ask me why would a loving God allow certain things to happen, I believe that God allows a creature, even a human being, to experience the pleasure and pain of a life. And so if you can see God in that ultimate way, you could understand then that sometimes you're going to go through times that are happy, and sometimes you're going to go through times that are sad, but God is still the same God. All is God, and all is more so a loving God than a hateful God. But all can hate things, because there are certain things that a God should hate. All hates the technology that has ruined the natural world and the order of it in this 21st century. It has harmed many lives in very many places, the corporations and the various different practices that are done with nuclear energy and other types of energy that are not safe for our planet, and people have suffered. But we, as Americans, we have lived in our bubble, not knowing or searching deep enough to understand where, and not picking on Americans. There are a lot of people in a lot of different countries that are well off, and they don't know the sufferings of a whole lot of the peoples on the earth, on the planet. They don't know the food shortages and the refugees and these sorts of things. And so when I was asked, why would a loving God allow a cataclysm, or why would a loving God allow confusion in religions? I believe that God allows pleasure and suffering, but God does this in order to allow us to experience the polarity of what is life, the ups and downs of life. And so God, if you could think of God as the perfect polarity, the perfect God, the perfect Spirit, God is part of all that is. And so God is the creator of the night and the creator of the daytime. God, before there was, the earth, it may have been that the space was void. God knows what the substance of the void is, the energy of that, all the polarities, negative, positive, night and day, and so God allows these things, I feel like, for us to experience and to grow as a spiritual being when we go through all this. I believe that if it were God's intention for us to live as human beings in this material form for billions of years, then we would never die. And maybe there's something better after this, that's better than this physical life that we know of as life. And that is why God allows cataclysms, so that people may be taken away from being physically incarnated, and to return to a spiritual state, to see what might be next, something better perhaps, and hopefully, if we have learned a lesson and done the best we could in this life, is what I believe. I steer clear of religions and cultish type practice, just simply because I believe that there's not enough room, for a lot of people to, feel free and communicate personally with a spirit God and a spirit Messiah. I believe that God has not abandoned humanity when these cataclysms strike humanity. I believe that God is just simply turning the page to a new age, and that is what must happen in order for God's destiny to become revealed in that. In the act of destruction, from the ashes, God will bring something else that is perhaps better than what we know now. So do not think that God has abandoned you when we go through these cataclysms. That is not the meaning of my message. I'm not a fearmonger, or nor am I a person who does not consider the the fear that my subscribers may feel. I do not want you to be afraid. That is why I made these videos. I want you to be prepared with the mind form to accept God, like you would accept your wife or husband in a marriage, for better or worse, and understand that God is worth more than any wife or husband can be, for God is more important. God is more important than our own lives. So when I said all is God, I meant all. And all is certainly the Spirit God, the great God, the great Spirit God. And in my belief, when I said Zaza, as I said before, is the Spirit Messiah. And I share my beliefs just simply because I'm asked to. A lot of times the subscriber or the person who is sending me messages wants to know what my belief is or my opinion is, and then I share that, and I hope that it serves you well. I believe that it will. I'll make another video shortly, and this I hope will help buffer the ground for explaining to you what I believe to be, what will happen in the next month or two with this entering into the dangerous trail of ISON, and as well as entering into the path of a dwarf sun star that will come, anywhere from 500,000 to 20,000 miles away from our Earth. So please understand, and as all, God bless, and Zaza the way. I'll see you soon. The next video should follow soon after this.